just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
General Manager's office. Beasley, draw the contract. The only thing that stands between us as a pennant is if this guy's battery goes dead or we rush in the rain.
As the baseball season swings into action, it seemed like the perfect time to talk about a very unique episode from the iconic series The Twilight Zone. The episode is called The Mighty Casey, and even though it's not one of the best or most classic of Twilight Zone tales, the story behind the episode is more interesting than the story itself. It was written by the legendary Rod Serling himself, and was his attempt at creating a lighthearted, comedic episode, which every Zone fan knows was usually not that successful on the show. Look at episodes like Cavender is Coming and Once Upon a Time from the third season. You'll see what I mean. Rod's love for baseball, though, won out, as he looked at baseball as a universal language that could bring people together and provide an escape from everyday troubles. He was also known to be a fan of the Dodgers and enjoyed listening to baseball games on the radio. With this episode, though, it faced unexpected challenges, and it led to a remarkable display of dedication from Serling himself. In fact, Rod put up $27,000 of his own money to finish this episode, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's take a quick little summary of the episode itself. Imagine you're a batter stepping up to the plate, bat in hand, heart pounding, and facing a robot pitcher who throws curveballs that defy physics. That's the world of the Mighty Casey. The episode is about a struggling baseball team, the Hoboken Zephyrs, who are on the verge of collapse. Their manager, Mouth McGarry, is introduced to a robot named Casey, created by one Dr. Stillman. Casey is a pitching sensation capable of throwing impossible pitches that no batter can hit. Fastballs that leave the catcher's glove smoking, slow balls that seem to take minutes to get to the plate, and curveballs that have impossible trajectories. Rod's original script was written with the Brooklyn Dodgers in mind. For all you young people, they didn't move to LA until 1958, which makes sense because their pitching staff was legendary at the time. The idea was that their pitching was so dominant it seemed almost superhuman. The team is suddenly winning game after game with Casey on the mound, but when Casey is injured and examined at the hospital, it's discovered that he's actually a robot. The National League rules that Casey can't play because he doesn't have a heart, so therefore he's not human, and they take him off the team. But in a twist, Dr. Stillman says that he can give Casey an artificial heart, and the league agrees that he can now return to the team. When Casey does return, he starts feeling empathy for the batters as he has now developed human emotions. Casey starts giving up hit after hit and finally refuses to pitch anymore, and he leaves baseball to become a social worker. The episode ends with a hint that McGarry might use Casey's blueprints to build a team of robot pitchers, suggesting a future where technology could dominate the sport. While the story is entertaining, it doesn't quite fit the typical Twilight Zone mold. But the real story behind the Mighty Casey is much more compelling than the episode itself. Originally, the role of manager Mouth McGarry was played by actor Paul Douglas, who was in the baseball-themed film Angels in the Outfield. Everyone noticed he was having breathing problems during production, but no one realized just how sick he really was. They thought he was intoxicated at first, as Douglas had a reputation for drinking, but that wasn't the case this time at all. Douglas tragically died from heart failure the day after the episode was finished filming. He was just 52 years old. Rod Serling was deeply affected by Douglas' death and wanted to reshoot the episode with a different actor, but CBS refused to finance a reshoot. So, Serling decided to go ahead anyway and used $27,000 of his own money to refilm with actor Jack Warden in the role. He believed deeply that it was the right thing to do, even though it meant taking a personal financial risk of what amounts to almost $300,000 with inflation in today's money. Whether or not this episode stands out as a classic doesn't really matter, but it's a fascinating piece of Twilight Zone history and shows the unwavering passion of Rod Serling to his personal vision. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. And if you liked this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. This is Rich from Rerun Zone. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.